that one heavy secret, that deep worry, the thing you just can't seem to shake? You walk around with it for days, maybe even weeks, and then out of nowhere, you're on a long train ride or talking to someone you've just met, and it all just comes pouring out. And man, it feels good, but it also feels kind of weird, right?
So let's just get right into it, because this is a paradox that so many of us are living with. You know, you can tell your rideshare driver your entire life story, but when your own mom asks how you're doing, the automatic answer is, I'm fine, even when you feel like you're falling apart inside.
I mean, this image just says it all, doesn't it? For a stranger, you give them the unfiltered, honest truth. For family, a two-word brick wall. So what is going on here? Well, I'm going to tell you, this is not some kind of character flaw. It's actually a really sophisticated survival instinct that's hardwired into your brain. That's right, this has nothing to do with a lack of love or trust. It's a deep-seated protective instinct. And today, we are going to unpack the psychology behind why your brain so often decides that a complete stranger is the safest place for your most vulnerable feelings. Okay, first things first. Strangers give you a totally clean slate. Think about it. Your family doesn't just see you today. They see the kid who made that dumb mistake, the awkward teenager, every single past failure. So when you open up, you risk being seen through the lens of your entire history. But a stranger? They only meet the person you are right here, right now. And that is incredibly freeing. And that brings us to the emotional stakes, which, with family, are sky high. You know, a stranger's judgment is basically just information. You can take it or leave it. But your family's opinion? Oof, that feels like a final verdict on who you are as a person. See, your brain is constantly running this risk assessment in the background, and the math is actually pretty simple. If you share something deeply personal with a stranger and they react badly, what's the worst that can happen? Pretty much nothing. You can just walk away, you never have to see them again. But with family, one misunderstanding can create this tension that lasts for years, coming up at every holiday dinner. Your brain sees that risk and just chooses the path of least resistance. And then there are the roles we play. In our families, we all get cast in a part, right? Maybe you're the strong one who never complains, or you're the funny one who's never supposed to be sad. Admitting you're struggling feels like you're breaking character, like you're betraying the role everyone expects you to play. But with a stranger, there's no script. You can just be your messy, confused, authentic self without worrying about disappointing an audience. So you have this incredibly complex subconscious calculation going on, this preference for a clean slate, the fear of disappointing people, the risk analysis, escaping a role. It all comes together under one really powerful psychological principle. And what it all comes down to is a concept that psychologists call emotional distance safety. It's this core idea that we feel safer sharing our deep emotions with people who are, well, emotionally distant. Why? Because they can offer validation without any consequences. They're not going to try to fix you or control you or bring up family drama from 10 years ago. They can just listen and say, wow, that sounds really hard. And let's be honest, sometimes that's all we really need. But, and this is a really crucial point, while this protective mechanism keeps us safe, it does come with a hidden cost. This constant need to find safety outside of our closest relationships can start to build walls right inside of them. You basically end up living two separate emotional lives. There's the real, vulnerable you that a stranger might get to see, and then there's the curated, everything's fine version that you perform for your family. Over time, that gap can make your closest relationships feel surprisingly shallow, even when there's so much love there. So the goal here isn't to stop confiding in strangers. That can be a really helpful thing to do. But maybe the goal is to start building a small, safe bridge back to the people who matter the most to us. And look, it doesn't require some big dramatic confession. It just starts with practicing a little bit of safe honesty. You can just start with these really low-risk, honest statements. These aren't overwhelming disclosures, they're just little cracks in the armor. A simple, I've been pretty stressed lately, can open a door. I'm not as okay as I look, is a gentle way to be real. And I could use some support. That's just a clear, calm request. Think of them as invitations, not accusations. So let's end with this really powerful reframe. If you find it easier to trust a stranger, it does not mean your family is terrible, and it definitely does not mean you're broken. It means you have a highly intelligent mind that is working overtime to protect you from judgment, from disappointment, and from long-term emotional pain. It's actually a sign of your brain doing its job. And that just leaves us with one final thought to carry with you. You don't have to say it out loud to anyone, but just ask yourself, what is one small, simple truth you wish the people closest to you really understood about you, right now, in this very moment? Because that's where the bridge begins.